Okay. Well, first of all, let me turn the sound off on the engines. Yeah, there you go. Makes it a little bit easier for you to hear. What we've done, part two of this, about the pulpwood and chip cars, we've gone into Jmri and we've created a train, created a route first, then we created a train. This is train 85, and it's the pulpwood chip car train. As you point out in the other video, I have a number of locations that require each type of car on the railroad. And of course, different trains handle them. They come in from different places. So each one of the yards, this being Apex, have them. So we went and built the train. First time built it, found a couple mistakes, fixed those by making sure it stopped at all the locations. That gets to be a little tricky if you got certain things set. Tracks where it says any train or a Pacific train. Some of my areas you have to get to a Pacific train. So train 85 had to be added to those spurs for the train to get there and service it. But this is, on this one, we didn't use Manifest Creator or the new one we're working on using PDF files. This is just straight preview from Jmri. And that was the original cars right there that were built onto the track where this train starts from. And I'll go over and show you that. Those were the 9 cars we had been playing with in the video. So when we left there, which I'll take you over and show you that, the train started from West Junction, track 3. There's West Junction, track 4, and that's the Topeka interchange train. Okay? It goes up to the interchange and comes back. This is the track which the pulpwood chip car train will start at. It's a local that runs out of Junction, in this case West Junction, goes east, gets to its last point, and turns around and comes back. In this case, it does not retrace its steps exactly. It goes on to branch lines. So this, again, is another train that's going to cover a lot of this railroad. So after we left here at West Junction, we came around to Junction Industrial Yard, which was right here. This is Junction Industrial Yard, these front 3 trucks, and we picked up 4 cars here. We then went all the way around, hit our eyes and didn't make note that we passed right through Golden, but we didn't say anything. And then we went up the helix to the top, all the way up to the top, came around the top, and over this branch line to our first pickup and set out as all this is set up for trailing point switches. And that's at Rollins Logging and Green Tree. And we set out that car. SB 3508. Then we came down to Tolan here after we repaired some track. Guardrails glued down with super glue. One little piece came up and derailed the train. Never ends. And then we came here to Tolan and we had to pick up a car. Then we went down the helix and we've arrived here at Apex, where we just picked up 3 cars. So we go on down and we've been following our instructions. Junction Yard. We went to Green Tree. And then we went to Tolan. It's on the bottom of the last page. We picked up 1 car, and now we're here at Apex, and we just picked up 3 cars. So now we're going to go around here. There's no work at No Name City, but we got to go through there, and we're going to the Silverville yard because we have to pick up 1 car and set out 3. All right, so. We'll come over here to No Name City. We'll turn the lights on for you. It's always nice. We will be back over here because we have a couple things to do up here at Apex Industrial, but that's Rocky logging, and we grind it. I think this stops. They're both trailing point switches, so we need to be going the other way. So we'll catch those on the way back. Got to think about how you make your trains run and what they're going to do. Yes, and she's still waiting for the train. Now going on, what, 13 years? Patient person. Well, we're going to come into the Silverville yard. And make our moves here. All right, we're going to stop there, and we're going to go get our clipboard and see what we got to get here. Okay, well, with an overnight stay, it's the next day. I'm sorry we had to go take somebody to a birthday dinner last night, so we had to stop. Okay, but you don't know that. So we're here in Silverville. Our train has arrived. Just so you understand how this works, this is the Silverville yard, and it's not located right at the town. It's on the edge of town. These tracks up here are actually the main line, and that's the station for Silverville. The our chip and pulpwood train is in the yard, and it's on the through track sitting there, which it can tie up. So our problem, what we have to do here is right here. We have to pick up one car off of track 1, and we have to set out 3 cars. And of course, needless to say, it's typical of Jmri. One of them goes to track 1, one goes to 4, and one goes to 5. So we're going to get that started, and we'll go after the pickup car right away. Let's see, it's NP wood chip on track 1, which is going to be this car right here. So that's the car we got to pick up. Okay. So we'll just use our road engines here for the sake of convenience. And there's no operators on duty today. Whoops, we missed the switch. Got to pay attention here. That's track 4 it went into. So, now, if we were in a big operating session where we had the full crew here, there would be an operator here in this yard. And they would probably have this car pulled and sitting somewhere where it's easy for this train to pick up. There's a timetable, order which the trains come, so it's all on his printout. That's a Katie magnet, okay? For those who haven't seen that video. Okay, we live with Katie magnets on this railroad. Gee, that chip car doesn't have a load in it. Oh well. So what can we say? Now, it's not picking up the car in front of it. So, again, it's a random. The computer works random, and as I've pointed out in other videos about how Jmri operations work, it does it on a random basis on a move count number. So we got to go put these 2 cars back. Now, the next part, now I want to stop here in a second and I want to get into something else that helps beginners. I get to be a little bit complacent. It's my railroad, and I've been fooling it for 12 years with the cars. So pretty much I can tell you everywhere they go. Like I can tell you that Sioux Line car actually is a DGGS car. It's got it only goes to a couple of places. It's just the way it is. So you have to think about it as when people come to your place or you operate, what works for you. Now, what we have to do is go back here and get the train. We have to figure out what the 3 cars, where are the 3 cars we have to put in the yard. We need to know that. Well, this is the way we get this. Just one way to do it. So these are little markers, a piece of plastic strut steel. We cut them up. So we need to find the 3 cars. Where are they at? So it's a CB and Q car. Well, we know which one that one is. That's the red one at the end. Okay. And we need to find an SP Pulpwood car 23509. That's one of the new ones. And an L&N 23056. So we go over here and we look, we know the pulpwood, the red ones at the end. That's 09, 010, 23506. Okay, so we put the little mark on top. 06 and 56, the LNN 56, right? Let's see. Am I right there? Okay, LNN 56, and the SP, nope, 09. I'm sorry. See, always pays to check. So it's the 09 car, okay? Generally speaking, when we're pulling cars and looking for cars, it's the road name, SP, and then generally speaking, when I do it, I'll just look for the last two numbers. There's never going 99.9% of the time, you're not going to run into conflicts in a train outside the two numbers. Now I just happen to know that the good old CB&Q car here is the last car in the train. Okay, so now we need to put these cars where they belong. Now, you know, how you work out some of the details is not. So we have this lead that comes out here all the way, and this is where you get back on the main line. I've already opened the switch up. Nobody else is here right now. This is Friday, and some of the group will be along. I don't know if I'll get to finish this thing in time, but that's where we are. So we have plenty of room to pull the train up and work the cars. We can go out on the main if we have to. So what we have to do now, let's see, hit the forward button. Oops, not hooked up here. Okay. We mismatched on a couple here. Okay. So we got to pull forward until we get to. Now, you can play this any way you want to. I'll work these cars as I come to them. So the first car is going to be the 09 car. And it's got to go on track 4, so I'll reach over here and open up track 4. Stop. And then we'll pull forward. The magic of the video machine. It's amazing what you can do with the edits. Okay, and then we'll back up and we'll go into track 4 with this. We're going to do this one. And after we finish this one, we're going to stop with the video here because we'll do the last two cars, and then we'll pull up and I'll explain what's going on as we go to the next stop. Again, there you go with the magnets. You may ask why I don't have a magnet out here where we're cars and stuff for the train sitting. Well, believe me, that's a place where the magnet's going to cause more headaches than it's going to solve. Because if you stop a train over a magnet and then you try to go forward, the train comes uncoupled, and you just have to decide where it works best for you. Now, what I could put out there on that track in each location, it could put an electric magnet. All right, so we're going to stop here and I'll park these other two cars where they have to go, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we finished all the work back there at Silverville, and we need to remember to close our switch here. Select accessory 2, 6, 5, enter 1. Switch closed. Okay, and we're going to go up here to Rockridge. Now, we have almost crossed the entire Grande Pacific Division. For you on the video here, it's a short trip. If you're actually working this in the railroad, this may have taken you about 30 minutes. Some people a little longer. Okay, so we go past the New River Mine. Excuse me, the Dick Snyder Mine. Snyder Mine. Had a name change. And we're climbing up here again. There's absolutely nothing back there behind that wall but 2 tracks. It's more than 30 inches. Can't reach it. Don't use it. Okay? So, and it separates parts of the world, as I've explained in many videos. So we've come this 100 extra miles here up to Rockridge. And one of our operators just snuck in. And we're going to come to Rockridge, which is the turn point for this train. It's not going to terminate in Golden. It's going to go back to Junction West. So we're going to come in here and we're going to get on the station track. And we're going to park this train. And then make the moves we got to make here. Which is simple, which I'll explain shortly. Okay, so we have an operator now, and we have a job here at no work at New River Mine, and now we're at Rockridge. We have to pick up the chip car right here. Now, yeah, you just have to play it's empty, okay? We don't swap loads on this railroad. That car is now empty, okay? Sorry, but it's empty. So he has to move the 5 cars that are sitting here, which we use for a storage track also, that are in his way, and he's going to get the wood chip car, okay? He also has to run his engines around the train because when he leaves, he's going that way, the way he came. This is a turn. So at this point, we're going to be headed back. We're not going to retrace our steps entirely. Train goes back a different way than it came. So he's getting his car out the way, his chip car out the way. This works so much better when you have an operator. Okay. Now he's using a pick stick. Okay? That takes practice, people. You can get good at that in time. So, because he's got to come down this track to the left, he's just putting the cars, the 5 cars out of the way. And we're going to get into the beauty part of the NCE. He's running engine 269. Hit the recall button. Now he's called up his road engines, 4365. So now he can pull that car up and drop it off. Headlights. Hey, everybody forgets to turn the headlights on. Now what he's got to do is move this car over there on the other side, and he'll drop it where he can get it on the nose of the switcher, and he'll go put it in place with the switcher, and he will return the 5 cars to the track that were there. We'll speed it up here a little bit for the sake of the video. It's running through town at 100 miles an hour. Now, he's got to put those two chip cars that were in the front end of his engine back in the train before he can run around. That's the next thing he's going to do with his engines. He's going to get on the other end. And he'll pull the caboose off, set the caboose on the main, and then put his engines on the train, and he can pull up. Okay, there was a magnet right up here. He set the cars to dead push. You see the couple is not matched. So when he gets back here to where the car goes to be unloaded, you can just shove it in. Now, you're going to say, well, we should have pushed it all the way into the unloading rack. Well, yeah, that's fine, but the next guy along's got to see the number, okay? So we leave the things where you could see numbers, okay? So he's finished with setting out that car. He's got to put those back, and like I said, he's going to run around his train. Okay, so we're picking up the car we had to get that he had set out, and he had moved the caboose over onto the main line. Needless to say, the engines are on the other end. And here's a good point: if you're consisting engines, then you have advanced consisting, he now is running the other engine as the lead locomotive. He switched over. So he's going to go put his train back together. We'll stop as soon as he gets the train back together, and then he'll go get a switcher and move the 5 cars back where they were, and then we'll proceed on to our next stop. Well, we'll give you the bonus video today. It's Friday, and we operate on Fridays. Well, one of the other operators has shown up, Dave, and he's running the Topeka Santa Fe interchange train, which comes onto the Grande Pacific Railroad at West Junction and has trackage rights to run over to the interchange and pick up their cars. Well, they got some cars to drop off today too. Now, this is an interesting run. It only goes one place and then turns around and comes back, and that's it. We don't let the Santa Fe run around and do other things on our railroad. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now we're moving on to our next stop, which is Apex Industrial. And we have to get off the main line up by the Silverville station and get on the branch line, the Apex Silverville branch line. And again, switch is closed. Switch is closed down here. So we're ready to go. So here comes our little train here. Train 85, the wood chip Pulpwood special. And it's coming up here in front of the Silverville station. We are cruising along a little higher speed for video purposes. And we crossed off to the switch, and we're now on the Apex Silverville branch line. The Grande Pacific has trackage rights here. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is the Apex Industrial area. Again, those tracks right there, the main line, are hundreds of miles away. All right, so we're going to come through here, and we're going down actually the siding here. Okay, so now at Apex Industrial, he has 2 stops to make. The first one is we grind it. We don't have any wood chip cars down there. You can see underneath the thing to put the chips in. So we're going to put some chips in. Okay? We're going to put a chip car to get the chips. Okay? We're going to spot that car. And that's the last move down there. We grind it, track 1, the wood chip car 91. The other 3 cars are all pulpwood cars, and they go to Rocky logging. All right, so we've dropped our car. We're going to get our rest of our train and go make the rest of the stops. Okay, so we've reached, we went over here and we grind it. And there's our car. Now we're still in Apex Industrial here. And he has these last 3 cars. And again, this is how Jmri works. Move count. Those cars' move count is 0. So it's going to move all 3 of those new cars to the railroad, to the system at once. Because the 2 cars in front of it are not new to the railroad. And it's going to spot all 3 of these at Rocky logging. Now this gets it to be an interesting spot because that's a grade. And he wanted to dead push this back, so he had to do it with a pick stick. There's a magnet there, which I see a piece of wood to mark the spot, but a magnet is missing. But he's going to leave the cars sitting up here. Now, don't forget to set your handbrakes, okay? Because we don't want them rolling back down the hill. Okay. We got the putting the train back together, and we're going to go on to our next stop, which we're almost at the end of the Apex Silverville branch line, which ends right up there by that switch at the end of the yard. So we'll go get the sheet and check to see where we have to go next. So our train is right here, and we're going to have to wait a second because this is the Junction Topeka Santa Fe interchange train. He's cleared the switch down here so we can go on now. So we have to open up 217, 216, and here comes our little train. Switch is open. And we're coming back out onto the main line. Well, that's one of the big ones. Oh yeah, that's a big square magnet. That's the only one I have on the railroad. Okay, so here we go. And we'll climb up here to going up into the tunnel. And our next stop is on the branch line, the Rawlins branch line at True Cut Lumber. Okay? While we're waiting for our train to come up, this is the grain ethanol train, which is headed to Rockridge. And he's waiting, or will be shortly, for the interchange, ADSF interchange train to come up. Now the grain ethanol train does just about the same operation that the wood chip train does. It stops every place that handles grain and ethanol cars. Really messes up these little trains when you do what's called a cornfield meet. So here comes our interchange train. We're going to put him in the hole. So here's our train arrived up here at Toland. The reefer train is a fun run train. You come over and you want to run a train around, that's the train you run around. As we go across the Colorado River, and of course, as you notice, the Colorado River flows right across the aisle here to the other side. Gotta go put the guardrail track back on that bridge. The train's now up on the Rawlins branch line. This is dark territory. And it's going to True Cut Lumber. True Cut Lumber provides wood chips. The train's gotten shorter. So the stop here is the True Cut Lumber Mill. Now that's an original name, okay? All right. This is the car we have to set out right here. And those are the two cars we need to pick up. So up on the upper level we have switches, which now I'll tell you this, Dave is tall enough he can see the points, but he was cheating. Okay, he was standing on a ladder. But up at the top we have all switches are controlled by throw switches with lights, because most of us can't see the points. Okay, we can't see the points. So he's got to go back here, pick up those two cars, and drop that one. And then he's going to re-put his train together, and he's going to take it to the end. Now, here we are on a Friday. We got 4 trains running, and everybody ends up in the same place. It's amazing. See, we got this whole railroad over here, and none of the trains are even, nobody's on this side. I don't care what you do, people. It happens every place I go in this country when we operate. Somehow or another, everybody ends up in the same spot. Okay. So we got one more part to this, and we'll get back in. Here's the rest of our train. While he's making his moves, it's sitting out here, and this is a runaround track. It's siding in on the branch line. And here comes our little train working its way down the helix. Oh, I'm sorry. It's running between Toland Rocky Loop towards Golden City, headed towards Junction, or it's coming down the helix. Okay, this is the longest part of its journey. 18.5 feet per turn track. There's 9.5 turns because he's coming all the way from the top to the bottom. So, because the helix is so high, I had to put in 4 cameras, so you can see the train in two cameras at the same time, but it could not get the lenses wide enough to cover the whole thing. So, as you can see, the train goes in and count 3, and then the train comes back out. So there's little dead spaces in there that the cameras don't cover. We're now past halfway down, so we're in the last home stretch headed back. All right, so this is the bottom, and as I've explained many times, you have to ignore the fact that we're going to pass Golden to get to Junction. Okay. It's just one of those things with model railroading you have to put up with. Okay? Now, here comes our little train here, back to Junction West, or West Junction. And he's going to pull up past the switch there and back to train in. So again, this is West Junction yard. And this train operates out of West Junction. Now, one of the things that I am going to do is I'm going to have one of our manifest freights, well, 2 of them, one east, one west, stop here and work this track for these cars. So a freight coming through and going back would, or either that. We have an off-on switch here that powers this whole yard. That way, when we get everything parked back here, and you'll notice the array of engines, this is off right there. So whenever you finish here, you turn off the power for everything. So, in effect, one thing we did not do, but we will as soon as I turn the video, we're going to pull the train out and we're going to check the cars. But we want to make sure that the cars that should be here are here. But that's the end. That's the end of the run for the train. Like I said, I'm going to end up having a couple of trains. Either there'll be an interchange train between the yard on the other side, maybe the local will come over here and swap some cars around, and it keeps the cars all mixed up in the system, so that other trains that handle these cars get access to them. We have an awful lot of trains and an awful lot of cars on this road, so they don't all get moved regularly, so try to make sure we move them around. Alright, so this will be the end of this video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. It's all about running trains using Jmri operations. Okay, you saw us run the train and everything. This is, we're putting the final of the video together. This is the route of the train. When you create a train, you have to go create a route first. The train starts off in West Junction, Pulpwood track. That's the location. And it's going east, and it can take up to 20 moves, so that's actually in effect 20 cars. We made the track 1,000 feet long. Now, whether you would be able to get 20 cars in 1,000 feet, I can't say. could make this track longer, but I don't necessarily want to have all my pulpwood and chipwood cars end up down here on this track. So we restricted it to 1,000 feet to start with. Then it goes around a corner and it stops at Junction industrial yards, and it's allowed 4 moves. That could be 4 pickups, or it could be 4 setouts, or a combination thereof, because you see it says pickups yes, setouts yes. Whereas the first one is strictly pickups. The first time we want to go anywhere, that's all we wanted to do is to take the cars. And then Golden Business District is just a place that passes past, and you see 0. Eagle Pass, 0. All these are just places on a railroad it passes until it gets to Green Tree. That's on a Rawlins branch line, and it's allowed to pick up 2 or set out 2 or a combination of both. So you just keep working down. And what I did was went over the whole railroad and went to any place that could possibly handle any of these 2 car types and let them go there and gave them some moves. Then you see it gets to a point, and the point is a rock ridge where you see it's going east, and then it goes to west. That's where it turns, and it comes back, and it ends up going into Junction West Pulpwood. So there's more there to the description, but it doesn't show because we don't have any more space allocated to it. But it puts the 20 cars in, and you'll notice the last one is no pickups and set outs only. So that's the end of the train. This is the thing you have to do first. And then after you do this, then you come over here. Let me close. That's all my routes. And let's see, and then you end up with we're open and operating right now. So train 85, we ran it again. It's right here, and I can go in here and edit, and it shows all the spots now that are checked or places it could stop and do business at. And they go on down here further, as you can see here, and it returns. Then it tells you which cars. Well, there's only 2 right here, pulpwood cars, and then down over here, wood chips. It's only 2. So it's that's the train. And the train is showing up. Let's see. It's train 85, and we went back in after we finished it before, and we finished it and we terminated it over there. Then I reran it, and this was the next time it came up. And that's what they're doing out there right now. He's running it again. And that's all the moves it's going to make the second time. And it returns. We noticed there were some different changes. It did go after those 6 pulpwood cars that had, now had 1 move on them or 2 moves. Now it goes after those cars and moves them again. It'll keep moving those cars every time, anytime those a chance to get to those cars because of the low move number. Until it gets up and starts matching the rest of the cars, it'll go after those cars first. So that's what it looks like when it's all done.